Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us on a Saturday. I know this is kind of out of the norm for our webinars, but we wanted to give you some exciting news and some holiday ideas on how to get your family involved in collecting. The other exciting thing is I have 11 handouts for this webinar. We're going to go through those as well, but they are all meant to help you in whatever way you want some help in gathering your family history. So with that, welcome and let's get started. Today is all about holiday activities to prepare for GEDCOM Merge and Massive Trees, a guide to family participation in the archiving journey. So GEDCOM Merge, that is a brand new thing that we are very excited about, and we should be bringing it to you very shortly. So we're going to do some walkthrough on that today. So our agenda. We're going to talk about what is a GEDCOM. A lot of you know, but some of you don't. It's a very crafty little thing that I'll give you just a brief idea of what it is. And what does it do for you in Archoral? It's a little bit different than what it does for you in traditional applications. And how does it work? So nobody else out there that I know of does GEDCOM Merge. If anybody knows, drop it in chat. Let me know. But we're going to show you how it works within Archoral. Then we're going to take a look at our master tree, which is also very unique, and our profile trees. We've got two different ways to view the same tree, and we're pretty excited about it. So then we're going to spend most of our day looking at our holiday ideas, and we're going to kind of walk through those handouts so that you know what's buried in all of those PDFs. All right, so let's get started. So what is a GEDCOM file? Well, it's called Genealogical Data Communication, and the file extension is .ged. Now, this isn't something that you can open in a Word document or anything like that. It's really just kind of how computers talk to each other. It's a standardized text-based file for genealogical data, and it's how family trees are exchanged between different genealogy websites and applications. So it's really not meant for the common person to be able to open and explore and understand. It's really meant for computers to understand how to transfer that data back and forth. And in Archoral, it automatically makes profile cards. So for those of you that are really familiar with us, you know that we are profile and media based. We are not tree based because you don't find your family from roots to trunk to branches to leaves. You find them sporadically. And so by being profile based, we can bring in your whole community, everyone that has been part of your world and your ancestors' worlds. So by importing a GEDCOM, you automatically get a ton of profile cards that are ready to go, and you can just go bananas within your archive. So any website, software, or application that makes family trees is where you can get a GEDCOM from. So those are everything from Ancestry to MyHeritage to your Family Tree Maker, your Roots Magic, Gramps, Heritage, any of those family tree sites will allow you to download a GEDCOM. Now, there are some exceptions. I know a lot of us out there like Family Search. Family Search allows you to download pieces because if you think about, they're a whole world tree. So downloading the whole world's tree would just be impossible. So there are some caveats in between some of these different applications on what you can extract from them, but anything that you can is amazing. And one of the reasons why we did GEDCOM Merge is because I have 3 ancestry trees. I started them with different branches, and then I realized, why did I do that? I should have put them together. Or my cousin decided that he was done doing genealogy, so he emailed me his GEDCOM and I have it uploaded. And then I have the MyHeritage because that is a repository site that is amazing for all of the information and the hints that it can give you. But you really kind of just build out your tree based on the hints that you find. And the same with Ancestry and a lot of the other repository sites. They are overwhelmingly helpful, but you tend to have little holes every now and again because they're bringing you different pieces of information, different batches of digitized documents. So all of this is incredibly important. So what happens is we all have these million trees. So you're asking yourself, why do I need another tree? It's not just another tree. This is a master tree. And within Archoral being profile and media based, we can also blend your tree with all of your digitized analog media, all of your modern media, and all of your research files. So think of it as genealogy meets photo album, and you can put that whole story together. And what that does is it gives you an archive that's built to be a legacy. It's a way that you can pass on your family history for future generations, and they can inherit your archive and keep building and keep building and keep building. And no longer will all of our pieces of research be segmented and pieces and parts be forgotten and lost. Now everything's got one happy home to live in. So what does GEDCOM Merge look like? I'm sure this is what a lot of you that saw our little graphic were like, GEDCOM Merge. So the benefits are endless. So let's see what that looks like. This is our GEDCOM homepage. And what I've done here is taken the two ancestry trees, the MyHeritage tree. I've taken some relatives trees, some friends trees that were kind of working in the same world, and I've been able to upload all of them. And then I can process them as I want to. I can process them in pieces or in whole. So you'll see there's one that's 28 of 28, one that's 1527 of 1527. Now I process those completely. But the other ones I want to do in pieces because maybe I'm not so sure about that data. Maybe I'm not so sure about their research. Or maybe I just feel like I have that family complete in my world. It's really how you want to work and how you want to go about it. So the first thing that I would do is start with one GEDCOM. And when you upload that, we can go in and we can say select all families. So that'll take everybody within that tree, whether it's the 28 that you see on the screen or the 14,000. It's whichever tree you want to start with. And you can say, create that. So one thing that I want to explain just real quick is you'll see in the upper screen, it says 28 unique profiles, 40 family members. In those GEDCOMs, it is a family group at a time. So a father, a mother, and children are going to be in one group, but then when one of those children creates a new family group, they're duplicated within that GEDCOM. So they're not unique profiles, they're the same person, just in a new family group. So we don't duplicate, we help keep those families together. So once you do that and you upload, you'll see that all of these different family groups are good to go. They've all been processed. So then you go back and you select a second one, and you can go family by group. And this helps you make sure that you've got the right people matched because dates are often different, research is often different, especially when you're gathering it from multiple people. They don't always have the right information, and you don't always have the right information. So this allows you to go one at a time. So our GEDCOM merge, we've got compare and add additional. So when you do that compare, our system will say, here are the GEDCOM profiles, and these are the people that we have in that family. Now we think that this is the Nathaniel that you're talking about, but it might be one of these two with a different name. So you just let us know. If they're not there, you can do add as a new profile, and voila, you've got a new family member. So what do we do about that conflicting information? We've got add as additional, and we've got replace. So if someone has a more complete date, you can say, give me the complete date. If somebody has a conflicting date and you're not quite sure, you can do add as additional, and we will hold both in that person's profile so that you can kind of do your own little detective work and figure it out. So what has happened with doing all of these GEDCOM merges is I ended up with 14,966 profile cards. Look at all those people. So what we've ingested is the name, the birth date, the death date, the birth location, the death location, and their gender, which would be sex at birth. In common GEDCOMs is sex at birth. So we've given them their sex at birth ring, their name, their birth to death date, and we've created a profile page for each one of those people. So they're ready to go. What this does is your dashboard, holy heck. So I started out with that one that was 28 people. And what my dashboard automatically gave me out of one GEDCOM, these are all the people that I recently uploaded. It starts building out some of those family statistics, and it gives you upcoming events by week or month. You can get marriages, birthdays, and death days. And you can't miss any more birthday cards after that, sorry. So after I uploaded 3 GEDCOMs, it gave me 63 people. Look at this, family statistics. I can now see the oldest and youngest. I could have seen that before, but it's a webinar. So we've got oldest and youngest, and this is a great way to say, uh-oh, I have a person in there that's 214 years old. That can't be right. And it will allow you to go find that person and correct them. So after 7 GEDCOM merges, 14,966. That's pretty exciting. So now my upcoming events, like crazy. Another feature of family statistics is common names. So you can go by first name or last name and start seeing what those common names are in your family. So let's talk about those trees, because that's really what we all want, right? Are those trees. So we've got a master view and a profile view. So this is our master view. And what's unique about ours is you see the whole tree. We don't give you a piece and then you have to extend and close and extend and close. You can actually see people across multiple generations and multiple horizontal axes. We also do relationship lines. So traditionally in a GEDCOM, what gets imported is considered to be biological. Sometimes there's some foster, depending on what the program is, and then there's spouse and partner. So we'll bring those in and we'll identify those for you. And then you'll notice that the pink and blue has gotten a little bit more prominent around their profile cards. So as you go in and you start updating and you start giving people gender identities, those are going to show in your cards in that border. And as you start adding in family relationships and you start adding in the adoptions and the fosters and the guardians and you start building out that environment, that will all be displayed in this tree. And this tree will just grow like crazy. And you can go in and start sorting. So as you have put in an adoption or a God family or a donor, these will activate and you'll know that that's in your family tree. So you're thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, giant, right? Well, we don't want you to be overwhelmed because this can also show your non-familial relationships if you want it to. So then the tree can really explode. So what we've also given you is a profile view. So within each person's profile card, you can see direct relationships. So what we've done is we've given one generation up being the parents and one generation down being the children. And then linear is going to be your spouse and your siblings. So that gives you a little bit cleaner snapshot of that person. And you can go in here and you can start adding just their immediate relationships here if you would like, or in the master tree. They're both connected. So any changes or additions that you make in one automatically reflects in the other. It just gives you kind of that simpler, less distracting view if that's the way that you want to work. So the extended relationships, remember how I was talking about our tree can also hold your non-familial? So if you have a chosen family, if you have personal work friends, if you have coworkers, any of your environment, we have over 14,000 different relationship combinations, meaning teacher, student, pastor, parishioner. It's It's incredible what we can hold. And so all of your extended relationships will be shown down here. And all of these cards are clickable so that you can go straight to that person's profile and wander around within your interconnected archive. So let's look at some holiday ideas. Let's check out those massive PDFs, shall we? So this is what you guys are going to get a link to. And as I said, I have 11 here for you. So let's go ahead and just go through the first one, and then we're going to kind of give you a brief on what's in the other ones. So your holiday activities. Let's go up to the top. So this is my favorite one. To gift your family an external hard drive, a blank hard drive. And you can look on Amazon and you can find drives that are formatted for both Mac and PC. So you don't have to call up your family and say, which one are you using? If you're crafty, you can use your little craft Cricut machine and put some beautiful names on it, or use a Sharpie or a P-Touch, whatever you want. You can customize them however creative you want to get, and send them to each family member. And you can ask them, please download your GEDCOMs. Please, any photos, home movies, documents that you have digitized that pertain to our family or our community, add them to that external hard drive and bring it with you when you come over for the holidays. And that is just a nice, easy way for somebody to have the intention of doing something and being able to contribute to your collective family archive. So when they bring it to Thanksgiving, you can either directly upload everything to Archoral, or you can merge it into your own master drive. There's a handout that talks about creating folder and collection naming conventions. We'll go through that as well. So when you upload everything from the drive that was brought, mark that as uploaded, do something like that, move everything into that master folder with the upload date, send the drive home with them, ask them to keep adding new stuff in new folders, because what you've done then is you've given them a backup of what they have, and you've given them the opportunity to keep collecting and keep gifting more to your collective family archive. An Archoral Family History Workbook. This is something that we have created, and you can email it ahead of time. It's also great for family members that can't be there with you. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So for the Archoral worksheet, we have instructions, we have an example, and then we have fillable, which is that PDF fillable, and we have extra sheets. So let's take a look at, we'll look at the example. So what this is just sheets that you can print out, staple together, pass around the table, however you'd like, email it to your people ahead of time, and have them for each packet give as much information as they have. Now, people remember things in pieces, and that's what makes a worksheet so much fun, because you can email them out and you can say, create a worksheet for anybody that you think of. If you only know one thing on one page, it's one more piece of information to add to the archive. So we've got our name at birth, our origin, we've got some statistics, we've got some, neat little things. And this is built exactly the way that Archoral thinks. So when you collect all of these, you're inputting them into Archoral broken down in a way that works for our system. So we've got marriages and unions, nicknames, stage names, pen names. This is a fun thing to do around the table. Tattoos, scars, and piercings, those all mean something. That's all a stage and a point in your life. Your friends, your family, your neighbors, your associates, any of your residences. Now, for me, I need to go to that extra sheet handout and print like 2 more of these just to get all of mine down. But what's great about the residences part is when I emailed this to my mom, she has her paper address book. Well, she doesn't want to send me her paper address book because mom is still analog. She wants to hold on to it. She's also not up for scanning anything. And if I ask her to take a picture, we all know what we get for that. So out of this sheet, mom actually wrote in all of the addresses that she had for me And yes, she used Z to continue going. So mom was able to gift that to me in a way that she wouldn't have been able to before. Education and certificates. So this is not just your traditional education. This is nowadays there's a million Microsoft certification, trade schools. There's all kinds of different educations and certifications that we can get that tell you about that person. Hobbies, clubs, organizations, religious establishments, life milestones and events. And just remember, all you're asking for is just memories. Employment and volunteer work, medical events. Was there cancer? Was there a surgery? Was there something that was a milestone in their life? Travel and experiences. This is just a great way to see what a person's personality was like. So let me explain this person ID right here. So you can use this or not. It depends on whether or not you're like me and you have color-coded highlighters. Well, named highlighters, I should say. So a person ID is in case your sheets get loose. So what I've done is Jonathan Wilbur Foreman. So this actually should have been a W. Look at me go. So I did a person ID. And then any of these associated people, I did a person ID for them as well, so that I know, okay, I put in the marriages and unions for Margaret Janelle Swanson. Now I want to put in details about her. So I go find the sheet that everybody filled out that's MJS1. For me, it's just an easy way to flip back and forth and keep them connected. But really, that's just there for people like me that are a little excessive. So again, email it out, play with it around the table. It's also a really fun thing to do when you're sitting around the table after dinner and somebody's telling stories. Be the person that keeps that little workbook with you for the family. And when grandpa starts telling a story or somebody starts picking on somebody else about nicknames, make it a family conversation and go through those worksheets and say, what was grandma's nickname? Where did grandma go to school? Because that invites stories. And the people that don't want to actually fill it out can just tell stories. Another idea is a timeline notebook. You can just get a simple notebook, mail them out, hand them off, and just ask them. Write down stories, write down anything that you think of. The next one is a family history prompt notebook. Now, these are two things that I just love. So I've got two examples here for you, but there are a whole lot out there. So I'm going to open this link and it's going to take me to Amazon. Now, we're not Amazon affiliates. This is just the easiest way for me to show everyone what's out there. So these beautiful books that they've created are filled with prompts. So they're like journals. And in each one of these pages, they'll just have prompts and stories and thoughts. So your dad, your grandpa, your grandma, your aunt, when they're hanging out, ask them to fill it out. Send it home with them for the year. It's all about keeping those stories and those pieces together. Here's another option. There's a ton. I'm sure there's some in your local bookstore. These are for more generic. The other ones were specific to dad, mom, grandma, aunt. These are more just individual. And the other fun thing is they're large print editions. So there are some family members that would really appreciate that. All right, so let's close these guys and we'll keep going. So ask any family members if they own scanners. If they do, ask them to please bring them. They might need to bring their laptop with them as well if it requires certain software drivers, but bringing them to the event and actually scanning things. If your family members bring photos, documents, albums, remember how I said my mom isn't going to scan anything and she's not going to camera scan either, but mom will pack an entire separate suitcase of things to bring to talk about. So the other thing I want to remind people is historical matters, but so does modern, because today we're creating tomorrow's history. So if they have DVDs, if they have thumb drives, if they have external drives, if they have scanners, phone cameras, any of this stuff. There's a ton of apps available. That's one of the handouts. There's also the option for buying scanners for this project. You can buy them new, used, or you can buy them and then resell them once the event is done. But if you're somebody like me, you buy the scanner for the event and then you get addicted and you keep it and you just scan everything that comes into your world. So during the holiday gathering, there's that GEDCOM roundup. So everybody's GEDCOM files, if it's brought to you on a USB thumb drive or that external drive, if it get emailed ahead of time for people that can't be there, have them bring all that or bring in their login. And what you can do is just start collecting those trees. You don't have to do anything with them yet. Just start collecting them and putting them in the system so that later on you can merge them into that one master archive. So the other thing that we have built into Archoral is DNA matches. So DNA sites do not download GEDCOMs. There is not one that I have found that does. And that is simply because a GEDCOM file is built to match your family and to grow that tree. But with DNA results, there are so many open holes. There are so many pockets where it's like, we think this is your fifth cousin 3 times removed, but we don't know how they work back to you. So there's no way for that computer to make the lingo to do that. But what you can do is screenshot their DNA trees so that you can have some information about possible names and places. And then you create those profiles within Archoral. And then we have this perfect little verification ribbon so that when you figure out if your fifth cousin 3 times removed is actually your fifth cousin 3 times removed, you can click that verification ribbon. So we'll hold that person until you can make that magnetic click. Okay. If you or a family member has a scanner, you can designate a scanning zone and you can just go bananas on your photos and your
Hey,
certificates. Yeah.
you've got a question.
What can I do for you?
Is there a handout for that?
Yes, for a handout for the GEDCOM Roundup? The
Do this. Let's do this. Would you go over the handouts? You said you had a number of handouts for this.
Sure. So we've got the Archoral worksheet. Then I have a whole handout with interview questions, prompts. I have scanner recommendations that are going to list some of the most popular smartphone and tablet scanning apps, as well as some recommendations on actual tabletop scanners. And the 3 that I use are in there as well. From the National Genealogical Society, we have a pedigree chart and an ancestor chart and a family group sheet so that you can play that way. Then we'll talk about ChatGPT transcript prompts. That one's pretty cool because you can copy and paste into ChatGPT. And then I've got our folder and naming conventions that we'll go through. Does that answer the question? Maybe?
Yes, it does.
Okay, perfect. The other thing that is really great about modern day life is that everybody's got a cell phone, a cloud account, a laptop. It's insane. So being a web-based application, if your family doesn't know how to download their iCloud or doesn't know how to transfer the camera roll from their phones, you can log into their computer. So if they bring their laptop or they bring their iPad or you're at their house, you can log into your Archoral account from their device and they can gift you anything that they want to gift you. So you can gather them into shared cloud drives. You can upload them straight into Archoral. So there's a million ways to go about collecting your family history from people of any digital capability or any interest level, really. So this is one of my favorites, Teen Tech Buddy Station. How many of you have children that when you're sitting around the table having your adult conversation, their eyes are rolling back in their head? They're scrolling social media and they're texting their friends about, oh my God, this story again. Give them something to do. Give them a project. Kids love having a job, something that they can focus on, that people are excited that they're doing. So let a bored teenager or another attendee adopt the role of moving all of those files off of the external drives, of operating the scanners, of helping people upload their things. There's a lot that the teenagers can do to, one, keep them involved, two, keep them interested, and three, help them connect with other family members that may not be as tech savvy. It gives that, I have a benefit. I have something that I can do to help you. And it really, it's kind of fun to watch a teenager and a grandparent work together on a project. So holiday storytelling sessions. This is where I'm talking about the Archoral itself has a profile story feature. So you can pick a relative's profile, and if you navigate to their timeline page, there's a storytelling section. And I'm actually going to go ahead and give you this. We're going to look at this. So if you go to, this is my little fake AI family so that I can show y'all and keep my family safe. So if I'm on a person's profile and I go to timeline, I can scroll past all these events and relationships, and you see this storytelling section. If you click add additional, you can put a little caption, grandma's going bananas. We're sitting in the living room. It's Thanksgiving. She's having a good time. Do click to record, and grandma can just tell you everything she remembers about Sophia. You know, I remember when she rode her first bike. I remember her first job. I remember when she was born. Whatever it is that grandma wants to say, you can record her voice along with it. And you can put on behalf of, and if grandma has a profile card, which she would from your uploaded GEDCOMs, you go ahead and just start typing in grandma's name and pick her. And she's automatically credited, if you will, for being the speaker. So that's another thing that GEDCOM does for you. When I have those 14,699 profile cards, that's what the profile cards do, is they allow you everywhere in the system to just start typing and connect, type and connect, type and connect. It really sets your archive up for ease. Okay, so let me find one. Again, this is the fun of having an AI archive. Let's see, let me go to Caleb, perhaps. Maybe he has one. Yeah, so this is what it looks like when you have some stories in there. You're going to have the date it was recorded on behalf of grandma. You're going to have the recording, and then you're also going to have a transcription. And we transcribe in multiple languages. And I believe that these recordings can be like 2 hours long, I think is what our limit was. So your transcription is going to be bananas, right? Your transcription is going to be crazy. So that transcription, we're going to come back to in just a minute. I want to go back to keeping with the activities that we can do on the day. So we're just sitting there and we're saying, tell me stories, tell me stories, tell me stories. Another way to get somebody to tell you stories are family history prompt card decks. And this turns it kind of into a game. It's a conversation prompt. So you can sit with your relatives individually or in small groups and have one of those bored teenagers video record and actually document the whole fun and games of storytelling. So I've given you, again, two options. Going back to Amazon again, just because everybody has access to Amazon. So this is one that's created by the same person that did the dad and the grandma books. And their prompt cards, one on each side, so you can go each way. And it just is a really great way to get those textural stories, because it's not going to ask you what was your birth date, what was your birth location. It's going to say things like, what is this one? Up to this point, what's the most character defining event of your life? So it really gets to the core of who your people are. So the other one is Life Story Interview Kit. All it is just kind of a different version, same idea. So it's really however you want to go about doing it. This one comes with tips for recording and interviewing, things like that. And it's split into these sections, your midlife, your early life, and your later life. Again, user preference. Okay. So now we've got a whole bunch of stories, right? You've collected all of this amazing stuff. So let's go back to those transcripts that we were talking about. All of those stories that you either recorded on a person's profile, or you recorded audio on your cell phone, or you did a video for, all of those transcripts contain gold. They contain gold for your family archives. So I've gone ahead and created the ChatGPT prompts that I use when I process the transcriptions so that I can get some information out. So what these prompts are going to do for you is they're going to extract dates, places, life events. They're going to identify people and relationships. They're going to build you timelines. They're going to create story summaries. They're going to do all this craziness for you. And within Archoral, if it's an audio in those storytellings, you're going to get the transcription. So you can just select, copy, paste. Video files, you're going to need to use a third-party transcription tool. And towards the bottom of this, there's a comparison chart for some transcription tools for you. So let's take a look at that transcription PDF, because it does need just a wee bit of explanation. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with ChatGPT, but I love it. There are a lot of you that use Gronk and some of the other ones. Perfectly fine. These prompts may work in the other ones. I'm not quite sure because this is the system that I use, but give it a try. Give it a whirl. It doesn't hurt, right? So this whole worksheet is designed to extract maximum genealogical value. So it's not so much the story about the family dog as it is the genealogical value. So my tips for doing this is, when you're in ChatGPT, stay in the same chat thread for each transcription that you're doing. Open a new one for the next one that you're processing. Repaste it if ChatGPT starts to get confused or if it gets too long, because once you do these prompts, you can go back and you can ask it more questions. It's pretty cool. You can say, keep doing things. ChatGPT will also search the internet for you and get you more information, but you need to have probably a paid account that's got the tools for web browsing enabled. Now, ChatGPT is not expensive, depending on what you consider expensive to be. But I like to just kind of log in, create an account, do everything I want to do. And then if I need to get rid of the tool, you get rid of the tool. So you can use additional prompts to ask about more, and you can ask it for certainty tags, and you can ask it to reason to give you exact, estimated, and inferred, which is great. So it's ideal for populating your profiles, for taking everything that you just did. So we'll come down to the first one. So this is analyzing the very first one. So you'll see that my fonts have changed for the prompts. This right here, this whole thing, woo, all the way down to here is the transcript. That is what you copy and paste into ChatGPT. And you're asking it, I'm building a digital genealogy archive based on a recorded story or interviewed transcript. Please act as a genealogical analyst and extract as much useful structured information as possible from the narrative. So you're telling ChatGPT, I want you to put this hat on. I want you to be this persona and look at this that I'm giving you in a very specific way. Then you say, now that you know who you are, this is what I want you to do. I want you to return the following for each person mentioned in the transcript. Give me the full name, the estimated birth year, certainty level, timeline for each event. Include all of this information. Give me a relationship map. So if somebody says my mom, and then later on they say my mom Mary, ChatGPT will put those two together. Include the nature of the relationship. So if they're talking about friends, neighbors, teachers, confidence issues or inconsistencies. This happens a lot when people are just kind of waxing and waning in their memory banks. The beginning of the story may have certain facts or memories And by the time they get to the end of the story, things may change. Because when you're going through a memory, you are actually playing a video in your head. So when you start watching that video, you give yourself more mental pieces to build and go a little bit deeper. So by the time you get to the end of the video, you may have a more complete concept of what that story was. And ChatGPT can figure that out. And they can say, well, in the beginning they said this, but in the end they said this. So here's what I'm assuming. It can give you chronological lists of places lived, significant things that happened there. Then I asked it to please cross-reference all people, events, and places so that shared events like funerals or weddings appear in the timelines of everyone involved. That makes your location profiles extraordinary. So far we've asked it, we've said, this is who you are. This is what I want you to do for me. This is what I want you to do with the information you've discovered. But then I also want you to tag every date and location with its certainty levels. If a claim or detail is possibly inconsistent or contradicts, flag it. If no name is given with a person, label it with a placeholder. And at the end, provide a brief section titled Notes and Assumptions. So look at all of this bananas that you can get out. So select this portion, copy, paste it into ChatGPT, keep it there, select your transcript, copy, paste it into ChatGPT, then hit go, and it will, phenomenal. So this can be done with your audio transcript, your video transcript, and it will spit you back out all kinds of fun stuff that you can then copy into a Word document or just keep it living there forever. It's up to you. Okay, so we're going to go back this way. So below are two modular prompts you can use to support your full analysis. The first one is for location address detection, and the second one is for web-based verification. So you're staying in the same chat thread. You're still part of what's going on, continuing in the same chat thread. Use the prompts as written. For new chat threads, you're going to have to repaste that transcript. That's why I was saying, if you want to keep them organized, keep them together when I'm talking about mom's audio transcription, keep it in its own. So this allows ChatGPT to look back, okay? It avoids confusion because he can hallucinate. Okay, so the next piece that I wanted to say, okay, it said, Grandpa was raised in Santa Fe, New Mexico, lived in a really small adobe that was within walking distance to both school and the church. Those are memories that you don't think really has a lot of potential. But when you ask ChatGPT, give me, based on the transcript I previously provided in this chat, identify any references to locations, including residence schools, hospitals, workplaces, landmarks, general geographic areas. For each, return this information, estimated address, neighborhood, city, state, country, your confidence level. Use italicized explanation of how this estimate was the transcript. So what ChatGPT will do is it will go, okay, Santa Fe, Adobe neighborhood. He was born in 1945. So the neighborhoods would have been this. Walking distance to school and church. So these are the neighborhoods that would have had a school and a church within a relative walking distance in 1945. So I think, and then it's going to say to you, I think that it's this neighborhood with this school and this church, or this neighborhood with this school and this church. And look at what he just did to you. He gave you courthouses to go look at. He gave you more rabbit holes to go down. But he's able to extract that when that would have taken us decades. So web-based detail lookup. So when he said, I graduated high school, I went to college and whatever, and it's all that vagueness, you can do deep research. If you're in that same chat, please search the internet for public information to help support the transcript I previously provided in this chat. So that little blue section is if you need to start again, you put, what was my wording? I will paste below. So that's what that little blue means. Replace I will paste below with previously provided. Okay, I hope you're following me. I know this is a lot. So for this one, please search the internet for public information to help support the transcript I previously provided in this chat. I'm looking for specific calendar-based or institutional details to enrich a genealogical timeline. For example, so you're telling him, this is what I'm looking for, but this is what I really want you to return me. So these are examples that you're providing in the chat. Provide verified date or fact, the source URL, which is important to go back and verify and make sure they got it right. A brief summary or quote. If something can't be verified, explain what was searched and why the answer was inconclusive. So this will say, okay, Santa Fe High School, he's 45 years old, so that would have put him in the graduating class of so-and-so. Historical records indicate that graduation would have been during this month of that year, but I can't specifically find a date. They'll tell you that, but now you know which year to go look at yearbooks and things like that. Or he'll say, I found a graduation document that somebody scanned in some other open archive, and ta-da, here's the graduation program for this specific date that lists your relative in it. It can be that incredible. So these are my prompts that you can go bananas after you've collected all those wonderful stories. Does anybody have any questions on this ginormous thing before I move on? Going once, going twice. Okay.
No questions.
Great. We're going to keep cruising. Build your post-holiday archive in Archoral. So now that you've gathered everything, now you can go through and start uploading and merging those GEDCOMs. You can upload all of the media that you've scanned. You can take the time to actually go through and build it, because don't forget, we're at the beginning of holiday season. So take what you have from the first time, and when they come back for the next holiday or you go to their house, you can attack them again and start this all over again. And more stories, more hints, more things. You can add all of the information from the workbooks. You can enter the timelines in, the holiday interviews. You can do your ChatGPT. And once you have this and you have some people and you have some things around you and your family's kind of getting excited about what was going on, the next time you gather together, you can add more and fill in more details and improve your tree. But it also gets your family members' minds going. And I guarantee you, you're going to get a WhatsApp message, a messenger message, a text message, an email, a phone call, and they're going to say, I just remembered blah. And there's more for you. So it's not a one-time project. It's a cyclical, ever-evolving, it's a family tradition in the making is what it is. And it becomes meaningful and collaborative. So everybody that has those scattered archives, what you're doing is you're building that legacy for your entire family and for your future generations. Now, you don't have to go entire family if you don't want to. You can stick to your immediate family. That's the beauty of it. You can do what you want to do. Oh, okay, so that's my activity guide. So let's take a look at folder naming. So with our core principle is legacy, 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 legacy. We're all doing these hours and hours and hours worth of work because we want to preserve our family. We want to preserve it for the future. So we need to kind of future-proof our things, right? So me and my weird little organizational issues, I have a whole folder and file naming convention that I use. And people ask me this all the time when we're out at conferences and what have you. How do you keep all this organized? Because you have to have a backup drive. I don't care what you use, where you go, what you do. You need to have your backup drive. There's a 3 backup rule. So I have naming conventions that I use, and this has got a directory to it because it is 12 pages long. So we're not going to go through the whole thing. I'm going to let you go ahead and go through this one on your own. But what I want to say is these are all clickable, so you can go directly to where you're going. You don't have to scroll and do your thing. But what we're looking at is our key reminder is that Archoral can blend media across families. So you do not need to duplicate media that belongs to multiple people. Right now, in a traditional file folder structure, if you want a census to belong to all 5 family members, you have to make 5 copies and put it in 5 folders. That's not the way that we operate. You do it once in one folder and you can connect it to all of the other family members. So that's a key reminder. You don't have to go duplicate bananas. A consistent file naming standard. We do not rely on file names within Archoral. Our indexer lets you extract and organize information directly from the media. When you're indexing and you're going bananas, that's what we rely on, not the file names. It's the folder structure that's far more important than strict file naming rules. So you can rename the files if you prefer, but it's not required. But it is helpful for retrieving analog media, which I discussed down here in section 5A. What matters most is keeping your uploads and collections in order. So when you keep your folder structure logical and chronicle, and you group media in the correct person or event folders, you can let Archoral handle the rest. And really, this is just so that when you get new media and you add to it, you keep yourself going in the right order and not duplicating things. But with our collections, what's unique is if you have a Fritz family and a George family, if they're traditional file folders, you have to open them one at a time. In Archoral, if I'm at Thanksgiving with those 2 family branches, I can open them together and explore them. So that's why that sort of folder organization is important. Our avoiding special characters. I've got a lot of information in here about best practices for dates. So many people get stuck in both the genealogical standard for date formatting or our standards for region or country. And this just kind of helps people understand that computers don't think that way. That's not the way computers think. So this is going to give you kind of an overview of that. We'll go over some folder and subfolder, how I organize them, how I do the individuals. And again, I talk more about dates and how computers think about things, where your shared documents live, different ways to organize. I am a big believer that analog media and digital native media need to be organized in 2 separate ways because they are very, very different things. And so we go through that. I go through my file naming, storage locations, methods, how I store my photo albums, because analog media is all about going back to the nostalgia. What goes in it? I'm running out of time. Told you I go down rabbit holes. How you organize your digital native media. I would really, really love everyone, if you look at nothing else on this handout, is to look at this one, because this is really important. The way that we capture our memories right now is a sentence with no punctuation. There is no photo pack 1, photo pack 2. It is a camera roll that goes on until life ends. It's insane. So I would love for you to just get the idea of this concept and see if it works for you. So I've got some alternative methods. Then this is the other one that I get asked. What do I do when a child leaves the family and starts their own family branch? It's a really confusing thing for a lot of people. So I've given you how I do it. Now, I just want you to understand that these are concepts. Do it my way, don't do it my way. You need to do it the way that works for you in your brain. So this gives you an example of how I do when one person marries out of a family and forms their own and that next generation. Some optional subfolder naming, and then I give you an example of my family folder tree so that after all of those words, you can come back here and actually see what all of those words meant. So we did that. Family worksheet, the extra sheets, our interview questions. This is just a whole bunch of triggers, just memory triggers. So if you don't want to buy the cards, you don't want to go that crazy, come in here, copy and paste this into your own document, change them, add your own. It's just a great way to get the conversation started. Scanning recommendations. I told you that this is the recommended tabletop scanners. It's the three that I use, why I like it, things to think about, some additional options, and then this is some of your top scanning smartphone apps, and then a little bit about how to set up for a good scanning session. I've given you the National Genealogical Society's ancestor charts. They're typable, print them, do them that way. But this is a great way that's just clean and simple if you don't want to worry about the workbook to get the family going. I also gave some instructions because people say, well, I know more than 4 generations. So I give you an idea of how to start and go to the next page. National Genealogical Society also has a wonderful free family group sheet. It's the same kind of as that other pedigree, but this gives you more of a family put together. So if you just want to do something simple like this, absolutely, it's all about getting the pieces. And then we look through the transcript prompts and we look through the folder naming very, very quickly. All right, so to recap this presentation, enjoy your family this holiday. That's what this is all about. And if you have the bonus of being able to extract things from their brains, go for it in any way that works, because really your family is only on this earth for their amount of time, and you're going to kick yourself. I wish I would have had these to ask my grandfather and my grandmother, my father. So enjoy your family this holiday season. And if anything that I have provided here helps you, that excites me. This is our QR code that goes to our website. This email, wearelistening@archoral.com. We love thoughts, we love questions, we love suggestions, we love ideas. If there's anything that you want to share with us or want to ask us, pop it in there and we will get back to you, and we will absolutely let you know what we think. We love communication. Enjoy your family. And thank you so much for spending a Saturday with me. Keep your eyes open for GEDCOM Merge and trees. It is in our final stage of testing, and we're very excited about it. Collect everything that you can this holiday, because very, very quickly you're going to be able to go in there and go bananas with it. So thank you so much, and happy archiving.